We are in the studio with Chris Cornell, debuting tracks from just a great record, Scream, his third solo record that he's put out with producer Timbaland. So we were talking a little bit about start to finish, making music, hearing music, getting to be a part of music for a new generation these days. Definitely different than it was when you started your career.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are you thinking? As somebody who gets it and knows it and has lived it and is still making great viable music and has been for so long, what are you thinking of the music business and the state of things that are going on?
Well, there's a lot of positives and negatives. I mean, I think that the musical revolution of today really has to do with technology and how it's being communicated. For example, I used to live in this like one room house, and in order to just do a demo, for example, of a song on a cassette, I had to have a room full of equipment, which costs more money than I could afford. And then if I could borrow enough equipment and have like a little 4-track and microphones and amps and a guitar, the best I could come out of it was with like a little bad sounding stereo cassette that I could then go play for
Didn't it seem like though things changed overnight?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden we're just like in a room and we're like, wait a minute, what the heck just happened here? It just seemed like all of a sudden, bam, we got it right in the face.
It happened very quickly.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I went from, with all that room full of equipment and all that and all the money to get that, I would have a cassette to play for one guy in his car. Now, for considerably less money and equipment that takes up no space at all, like the size of a computer,
right,
I can record great sounding music. I can write a song that doesn't exist right now. I could go into the room next door an hour from now. I could have written it, recorded it, create a CD, put it into my laptop, or just do it from a laptop and upload it, and people in Bangladesh could be hearing that song.
Exactly.
There's no way anyone's ever going to be able to convince me that that's not a good thing for everybody.
Right.
How it works out, where the chips fall, how the business aspect of it figures out a way to like get in between it and create a way to make income from it is something that I don't concern myself with.
Right. You don't have to.
No.
You don't have to. You don't have to. So before we play something else and before I let you go, a couple things I've always wanted to ask you. Well, first I'm going to ask you an obvious question. You're going to take the record out on the road after it's released, do some shows. You're planning on doing that? Yeah,
absolutely. I'm going to be touring in support of this and everything else I've ever done for quite a while.
Great. Chris Cornell decides he's making music. It's done. It's in the can. He's listening back. What's the criteria to make sure, you know what, we're not going to scrap this? Like, what does it need to do to you physically, emotionally, in your mind that you say, you know what, I have a certain criteria. I know it's probably just a feeling, but give me something. Is it?
I think feeling describes it best. The Scream is my 14th full-length album.
Wow.
I've never scrapped an album. I've never had anyone give me one back and say, no, you're not finished yet.
Right.
So
was there ever like a time where like, ooh, something just made, I don't know, like the hairs on your arms stand up or whatever, where you just felt, man, this is it. This is it.
There are many times when that's happened, when I'm writing a song and or recording and just feeling like, oh my God. In fact, one of the songs that you're going to play, Never Far Away, which we haven't talked about yet. That's one of those ones where
really, perfect.
Every time, even when we were mixing it, and we were mixing the song that happens before it, which is Ground Zero, the interlude into it, because it's all now one continuous mix on the album. Every time it would start, everyone in the room would just start jumping without even saying anything. That's one of those moments. But it's a feeling, and I've also definitely, I want to make it clear to other musicians and young songwriters and bands, there are many times when I'm in the middle of something and I'm embarrassed by what I'm doing, or I'm writing lyrics and wondering if it's good, and then I'll set it down for a second and I'll come back and look at it, and I will wad it up into a ball and throw it into the fireplace. I learned to burn it so that no one would see it.
There's no trace of it anywhere.
Yeah, you have to have the ability to allow yourself to be awful too. Because it's going to happen, and if that's going to knock you down and you're not going to get back up from it, then you're finished.
There's so many people out there right now going, yes, It's not just me. Chris Cornell is saying that too.
No, and you know what? It'll happen again.
So from Scream, let's do Never Far Away.
Great.
And then I know, you have some time constraints and stuff. So before we go out with the final tune, give you a couple final questions. Chris Cornell in the studio with us. I'm having such a good time. I want to keep you here. Can I keep you here like for a really long time?
Why not?
Okay.